Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours and hopefully the next few days. Today is Thursday, December 22nd, and we are coming at you towards the tail end of the week. We do have the Christmas holiday coming up, as well as the end of Hanukkah in front of us. Markets of course, will be closed on Monday. U.S. markets, well, I believe EU markets as well. So definitely something to look out for if you're looking into weekend trading. But what we were just faced with this morning was quite a steep drop. Ethereum sentiment has been more or less neutral, but we do know neutral with previous bearishness, represents continuation. Same thing for bullishness. If it was bullish and then went to neutral, typically we end up seeing price action continue with where sentiment was focused prior to staying steady around the neutral level. So Ethereum sentiment, neutral to bearish, tweet volume down, trading volume down. Bitcoin sentiment quite bearish, not exactly as bearish as it was when we spoke yesterday, but definitely bearish. One thing I will say is, potential head and shoulders kind of forming here on the bearish or on the sentiment chart. So something to look out for, that we could potentially see a bullish spike, potentially if PCE tomorrow is very positive. So something to consider and look out for there. I do think that any spike would be short-lived, but of course volatility reigns when there is indecision in the market. So tweet volume down for Bitcoin and trading volume down for Bitcoin as well. So not looking very positive preliminarily for both assets, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but head and shoulders on the daily chart for Bitcoin. We do know Bitcoin's the leader, something to keep in mind. Looking at DXY, one of my favorite charts so far, very strong daily candle here. We have a wick beneath the trend, and then we have the body above the trend. If we get a strong close above that with a confirmation candle, basically a second candle closing outside of the trend, I will definitely, double down on my bullish thesis that we've been discussing for quite some time. We also have the bounce on the RSI trend. Of course, we still need to get above that RSI level of 42, but preliminarily looks very good, and I would expect more or less DXY to head to 105.3 and then have another decision there on whether or not it's going to be rejected or flip to support. So if I draw that, that's what it's looking like. And of course, if we have a bad close or a candle cannot confirm, then we would, potentially slide back down. So that's what we'll be looking for into the weekend. But right now, the data is reflecting the initial analysis that we've been talking about for more than a week in this range. Looking at equities here, we're on the 1 hour. As we were talking about yesterday, we were talking right when that spike came. We mentioned 3,900 being resistance, but there was also all of that liquidity up here that we mentioned being resistance as well. That definitely acted as resistance, and we slowly, and this is your classic topping pattern, multiple wicks, can't get above, where price wick to, one final wick to kind of put a little bit of a nail in the coffin. And then we just slid down basically all night into the morning and are, catching right around where support was previously. So we broke beneath the 3809 level that I laid out and went straight to 3800. So it actually might, be more pertinent to move this range level down. Looks a little bit cleaner. We can see the double tap here, also sitting here. Its current price action very oversold. So the last time equities were this oversold was the temporary low on December 15th, which it took around 12 hours for it to recover and then drop lower. So something to look out for in relation to this potential price action as well. Looks very similar to what we saw in mid-December, not exactly as beautiful and round, but big top, can't get back up to the recent high, spike up here, and then we just start careening down low. And of course, that went from the 13th of December all the way to the 20th of December. So, full week of trading down. Not saying that's going to happen here, but definitely plausible considering the bearishness that we've been facing from, the Fed and the macroeconomic situation. So very much something to consider. If we do recover here, which is possible, 3,800, we would probably bounce up here to, 38, I'd say 38.30. 38.40 would probably be my number, but potentially as high as 38.50 to that POC, potentially swing failure pattern in here and then come back down. Also, you have to think that Friday morning, right around here, let me draw a little line. So right here where this line is going to be when PCE gets released. So do we front run PCE and then sell off on PCE tomorrow? I'll go ahead and show you the chart right here. So, that was last week's. My apologies. So Friday, PCE price index, core PCE. So the market will probably be looking much closer at core PCE than it will regular PCE. Core PCE is expected to come in at 0.2% increase month over month and a 4.6% increase year over year, which is down from a 5% increase year over year. And core PCE is expected, of course, stay steady as well. So, or for month over month. So we want this number to come in, at or lower than expected, because, at expected is still decreasing inflation, but, at expected number is going to bring a lot of volatility without much directionality. A close lower than what were predicted will be bullish, because the inflation narrative is abating. If it comes in higher than what is predicted, then inflation is not getting better, it's getting worse, and markets will definitely head lower on that. The question is, how much higher or lower do markets move based on this? And we'll have to see from the futures reaction tomorrow morning. I'm probably not going to place a bet into this. I'll probably play whatever happens afterward, because we potentially might see continuation into the weekend. But of course, we'll have to play it again, level by level, narrative by narrative. And there's no reason to get jumpy or overextended with this kind of stuff going on. Oh my God, we just had a $2 million sell come across the ticker tape on Bitcoin. Let me see. Actually, I might be able to pull this ticker tape up for you guys. Here we go. So we're not going to see the historical feed because of how it refreshes, but we just had a 500K sell on Bitcoin and a $2 million sell, another 400K sell. So about what I'm counting right now, 4 or 5 million in Bitcoin perps sold just in the past 5 minutes. So very interesting. So, and of course, let's go look at the equities chart right now, because we were talking about that bounce, and now we're, it's still just creeping lower. Oh, don't want that. We want this, we want that. Yeah, so it's still creeping lower. So of course, if 3,800 breaks, back to the conversation of price action based on pre-PCE, is if this breaks, then 3,770 is the next hope. And if 3,770 fails, then we'll have to zoom out even more, and we'll go to the 4-hour to make this chart a little bit more readable for all of you. So let's go ahead and get rid of this line, because we know that if 3,800 holds, we'll probably end up, sending to 3,840. And if 3,800 fails, first line of defense is 3,770. And we have a big POC here, so it would not shock me to see price action tag that today. And then if 3,770 breaks, we have 3,720. If 3,720 breaks, then we have 3,640. And 3,640 is, or 3,640, if 3,640 breaks, then we have 3,570. And if 3,570 breaks, then we're back to the lows that we experienced in October at 3,490, 3,500. And then that's pretty much that's the recent low since we capitulated back in January. So if that breaks, then, just for reasoning, and if you read the Trade the Chain newsletter, this is in there as well from earlier in this week. The low end of support would be 3,250 in my opinion, and then the high end of support would likely be 3,400 if 3,500 were to break. So just something to look out for there. So we'll have to continue to monitor equities in Bitcoin, or equities, crypto, and Ethereum. We're going to dig into Bitcoin and Ethereum in a second. If this continues lower, it's tough to think that Bitcoin and Ethereum hold any support level that they're hovering around. So definitely something to consider as we move into Bitcoin. So looking at Bitcoin, very tight 1 hour range. I mean, we haven't deviated much in nearly over a week of trading. We've had, one slight movement down to 16.3, one slight movement down to 1700. The rest, we've been stuck in a literal $300 range for Bitcoin, which percentage wise is only 1.7%. Can you make money here? Yes. Is it difficult? Also, yes. So currently sitting at this support level, it's probably going to break. It's probably going to break maybe while we're on the stream. But basically, if this level holds, what is it, 16,640, then we can move back above 16.7. If this level breaks, first level of defense is 16,550, and then next level is 16.3. I would expect 16.3 to likely hold depending on what equities do. But of course, if 16.3 does break, next level of support is 1600 flat. And then we're talking again about the lows from back in November, which would be 15.5. And I would expect some sort of action here. This is kind of final support. So if we make it here, I would definitely expect probably a tag to 16K or maybe 16.2 before heading lower. So, and we have some bias coming in. Very interesting at this level. So basically what I'm seeing on the ticker tape is, so the left side is spot, right side is perp. So basically what we're seeing right now is very little interest from the spot side of things, and everyone is more or less placing bets, long or short bets based on perpetuals or synthetics. So what we're seeing right now, we just had a few million come in on the buys, but as you can see, it's been mostly red since at least we pulled this up. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. And what we're looking at here is the cumulative volume delta. In blue is for spot and red is for perps. Typically, this gives you a understanding of buy interest and volume going on. If they're outsized, meaning if perps are higher than spot, then you can tell it's a perp-led rally rather than a spot-led rally. And if it's a perp-led rally, it's typically synthetic, will be volatile, will typically sell off or buy back depending on what direction it's in. So if there's basically moral of the story is if there's no spot interest, it's not looking good for price action continuation. So we're very in line with spot and perps right now, which is something that you would likely see in a typical reversal category. But there's not a whole lot of spot interest here. So just because they're in line doesn't mean it's going to reverse. We need to see spot buys come in and support what's going on in perps, or sells come in to support what's going on in perps as well. So right now it looks blood red. Doesn't look like anyone wants to buy and prop this up. So we'll have to see what happens right around that 16.62, 16.66 to see whether price action will hold. But just quickly going back to equities, we are sliding down what appears to be beneath the initial support level. So we know Bitcoin, if it loses 16.6, 16.5, 16.3, 16 flat, potentially 15.8. And then for Ethereum, a little bit more prettier and easy to understand, straight down to the support level. If 1185 holds, back to 1195, potentially all the way up to 1210. If 1188 to 1186, 1185 breaks, then we're back down to just under 1170. And if 1170 fails, then we are back down to 1150. And if 1150 fails, then things continue to get more hairy as 1120 and 1080 are next levels of support. So I'm not, I know I'm kind of talking a bearish game at this current level for Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I'm not betting on them, breaking down much further. Definitely, if equities scare us to and have a steep drop lower, then I definitely will But I would more or less expect some sort of reaction at 16,550, and I would expect some sort of reaction around 1170 if we make it there, just considering what that support has done so far. So I think a majority of the downside move is probably over for today. But of course, if actually, I say that, and then equities seem to want to have a strong close under here. We still have 40 minutes left in this hourly candle, so I'm not going to make an inference on my opinion of directionality going into tomorrow. I am a bear. I do think that a lot of this move has been made this morning. So if you wanted to suck out a last few percentage points to the downside, I think it will be possible. I just think it will be difficult. So I think that's probably the best way to give my analysis for this exact situation. I would say, if you stay short into the end of the year, you'll probably end up being profitable, but it's better to play it level by level. We're at a core level now. We could see a reversal. We could see it go lower, but it's probably better to let the lower time frame shape out and not make any overzealous bets that could hurt you, considering you could definitely get trapped knowing that we're going into PCE tomorrow morning, which will definitely drive volatility and could be unpredictable based on the fact that, no one has really seemed to predict inflation data very well for the past year. So good luck. Happy trading. Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. PCE data comes in 8:30 a.m. Eastern. More volatility, more fun. We are at a key support level. We could definitely drop lower. But I have a feeling that crypto will follow whatever equities do at the end of the day. So good luck. Happy trading. See everybody tomorrow. And if you're not in the Trade the Chain community, you're missing out on all the best alpha in the markets.